This year is the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 manned moon landing on July 20th, 1969. Apollo 11 was just before my time, since I would not be born for another 2 weeks. The doctor told my parents to respect twins. What she got instead was a 10-pound bowling ball, and my parents took me home in a bowling bag. That was the story that my father told me when I was little, and I asked about the empty bowling bag in the back of a closet. No doubt my parents watched the moon landing on the old black and white console TV in the living room. With the half-century mark upon us, there are 2 new movies that explore the inner space and outer space of the historic manned moon landing. First Man, that came out last year, is a biopic that explores the inner space of astronaut Neil Armstrong. Apollo 11, that recently came out, is a documentary that follows the outer space of the historic moon landing from launch to splashdown. Each movie has its own strengths and weaknesses, but together they tell a compelling story of mankind's greatest achievement in the last half-century. My name is cdreimer and welcome to my channel. I made a video about First Man when it came out because the right-wing echo chamber complained about the Canadians rewriting American history and disrespecting the American flag. Here's a brief recap of that video. The Canadians already rewrote American history when Canadian actor William Shatner and American actress Nichelle Nicholas had the first interracial kiss on U.S. television in a December 1968 episode of Star Trek. While First Man had a departing shot of the American flag on the moon, it did not show the astronaut planting the flag on the moon. A scene like that would have been out of place in this movie. Neil Armstrong was a very private person who rarely granted interviews after walking on the moon in 1969 and before his death in 2012. First Man was an official biography in 2005 that surprised some people by Neil Armstrong's willingness to tell his story after keeping quiet all these years. He was deeply haunted by the death of his young daughter from cancer, the most painful experience that a parent can ever endure, an experience that hovers over his career from test flights at Edwards Air Force Base, his selection and training as an astronaut at NASA, the Gemini 8 spaceflight, the Apollo 1 fire, and the Apollo 11 moon landing. Out of the many space documentaries and movies that I have seen over the decades, First Man is perhaps the most psychological. Apollo 11 is a documentary constructed from NASA footage, including new footage that has never been shown until now. How could new footage ever be possible? NASA tends to misplace important things from time to time, such as moonrock samples in the back of broom closets for decades at a time. As far as I could tell, there were several unique scenes I had not seen before. A firing room with operators sitting in front of massive rows of computers to monitor the Saturn V rocket as part of launch control took up an entire floor. I think we often forget how big computers were 50 years ago. The iPhone 6 that I carry in my pocket has more computing power than NASA had throughout the 1960s. A wide-angle shot focused on the 2-story tall engine nozzle at the base of the Saturn V rocket while the engine ignites for launch was quite impressive. That scene reminded me when I saw the 15-minute documentary of the nighttime space shuttle launch on the 65-foot tall IMAX screen at the Great American Amusement Park in 1984. The documentary begins with the Saturn V rocket rolling out to the launch pad and ends with the astronauts returning as ticker tape parade heroes. Not only was the American flag planted on the moon, President Richard Nixon called from the White House, and the astronauts saluted the flag as part of a ceremony to commemorate the special occasion. As for the politicians and pundits who bitch about the Canadians and American flag in First Man, they have nothing to say about Apollo 11. Apollo 11 was available in limited IMAX release for its first week, and now available in wider release. Links to everything I mentioned in this video can be found in the description below. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and click on the notification bell to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching.